Today in the backstory, journalist Garrett Glaser has appeared on a variety of news outlets, including ABC News, CBS, and NBC. While working in Los Angeles in 1994, he became the first local TV correspondent to come out as gay while on the air.
Now Garrett is out with a new book offering an inside look at the hidden world of gay New York before the Stonewall riots back in June of 1969. Garrett joins us to continue the conversation this morning about his new book. It's called Fairyboy, Growing Up Gay and Out in Pre-Stonewall New York and Beyond. Garrett, it's an honor to have you on the show this morning. How are you?
Thanks a lot. I love watching you guys.
Thank you very much. It means a lot. We want to dive into your backstory. Your new book explores your childhood, teenage years, career, retirement, all of it. Let's start with your childhood. And unlike many gay kids, you came out apparently only a few months after realizing that you're gay. What was different for you?
It's interesting. Christmas Day, 1967, I was 14. I go to a Christmas party at the home of my father and stepmother. And my stepmother's quite drunk. And she says, screaming at the party, "You, Garrett, you're a queer. You don't know it yet, but you're gonna be. I know it. I can tell." Well, she worked in luxury retail, so she was used to working around gay men. And I looked around, and nobody was looking at me. Everyone's kind of looking down, and I thought to myself, she knows it. I sense it inside. So I need to learn to deal with this. And I didn't get into it with her. I just kind of looked at her and nodded. And a friend of my dad's walked up to him and said, "I think your wife Muriel is going kind of hard on Garrett," which was an understatement. And I got through it, but it made me realize that it's something I got to think about and deal with. How am I going to deal with this, and how open am I going to be?
What a thing to face at just
Wow.
14. And it sounds like you handled it in that moment really well and with maturity.
Thanks.
So I'm thankful to you for sharing your story with us and being vulnerable with us here on the air. Unfortunately, that's the case for so many young people who are in the LGBTQ plus community. They have experienced that if you want to call it verbal abuse or even lack of support from loved ones. So after that experience, I mean, what did you learn from it, and how did you move forward?
Very interesting. Yeah, I was on the school bus going to soccer practice, and I had a crush on a boy who was on the bus. He happened to be the son of a famous writer and feminist named Betty Friedan. And his name was John Friedan. And I would get nervous every time I was near him. And so nervous I was almost shaking. He was like the perfect kid. And the other players were kind of goofing around with him and said something insulting, and I laughed, and he heard me laugh, and he said, "Hey, look who's laughing, Fairyboy himself." So I got the realization that he spotted me, like my stepmother had, I guess. And I didn't get insulted as much as like, "Hey, wow, he noticed me." And that's how the book got its name, because I didn't really know what to call it. Anyway, I've never talked to him about it, and I suspect he wouldn't remember it, but I remembered it. And it was one more time when reality kind of intruded, and the world was saying, "Hey, we can tell you're gay, or you're gonna be." So I had to think about that and come to terms with that.
Garrett, as a gay man myself who works in this industry, I want to thank you for what you did years ago, which was you became the first local TV news correspondent to come out while on the air. And this was in the 1990s. So tell us about that experience. Obviously, a lot has changed since then, but tell us about that experience back then, and how did that impact your career?
Well, the funny part of it is, the LA Times came and said we want to do a story on this guy who's gay who's on the news. So they did it. It was a nice front page piece in the calendar section, gay guy. So I thought that's nice. And then I got called in a few weeks later, and the head of the station said, "You're going to come out today on the air." And I said, how come? And between you and me, I think NBC was tired of getting joked or ribbed at by the newspaper, which had a little feature like, "Is he out yet? Is Glazer out yet?" And every few days it would pop up, in the paper. And I think they got tired of it. So they said, "You're coming out today." And I said, "Well, what's the excuse? I'm not just going to say, 'Hi, I'm Garrett and I'm a homo.' Why am I mentioning this?" And they said, "What do you got in your segment today?" And I said, "Well, I got this. I was doing showbiz stuff." So I said, "Well, I see that there's an obituary on Elizabeth Glaser from the Pediatric AIDS Foundation." And they said, "Well, use that, somehow work it into that." So I said on the air, as a gay man who's lost so many friends and loved ones to the epidemic, I so appreciate how she mainstreamed awareness of the epidemic. And that was the way we did it. And after that, there was very little fallout. I got to tell you, we got a few kind of hateful calls, but 9 out of 10 were very supportive and said, "Thank you for doing that." And I kind of had to do it I think, for my own mental health. I think it's healthy to be who you are and open and honest about your life. It's just healthy.
Glad the feedback was appreciative, and that representation is so important in news.
Yeah.
You want the subjects to be timely, so it seems like you
Yeah.
found a way to tell your truth in a really timely moment. So I want to get to your book.
Thank you.
Your book
Yeah.
explores New York pre-Stonewall riots. How has living as a member of
Amazing.
the LGBTQ plus community changed since then?
I can't get over the change. It certainly, all the stuff these days about politics and about trans lives. I mean, there are still plenty of controversies in the community, but back then it was much more about not getting arrested, not being spotted giving someone even a friendly kiss on the street for fear that you would get pulled over by police in New York City. Mafia control of gay establishments almost totally. I had a few friends in politics who were increasingly coming out. That made a big difference. But the part of the book I found most interesting is in the beginning, when I'm really little and I go to see Liberace in 1960. And it's like, I was fascinated by him because he was such a good entertainer, I guess. I saw Mary Martin in Peter Pan, and I said after the show to her, "How can a boy be a girl, or girl be a boy?" So, it's like little by little as I grew up, it was clear I was thinking about these things. And I loved being around the old New York where that kind of stuff was more, how do I say, the world was more forgiving and looser. There weren't so much politics, but at the same time, if you came too close to the edge, I mean, they would put people in jail for nothing. Like educated people go into a bar, have a drink, bar gets arrested, and everybody gets put into jail. I mean, that's kind of insane. These are like, working stiffs going out for a drink after work. So it made a difference, I think, all these years.
What do you hope people take away from it?
I just thought about the other day, like, what is the takeaway from Fairyboy? And I think the takeaway is, you got to be open and honest with yourself first. You got to come to a place where you like yourself and you're willing to share that with the world. And if you do, if you don't withhold, if you don't play games, if you're just kind of like, "Hey, this is me," for better or worse, I think it comes back to help you. I think it's a positive. I wish more people were just totally open and honest.
Be honest with yourself. Great takeaway. Thank you so much, Garrett, for joining us, and congratulations on your book. We appreciate you sharing your story with us
It's
and with our
great, great.
viewers.
I'm so grateful you did this, and thanks for being there, guys.
Thank you, Garrett. Appreciate the time.